Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Mind of Reese. Today we're going to be talking about some do's and don'ts when it comes to creating more engagement on your social medias. Okay, this is a huge one. This is very live for me. But before we do, first of all, if you love this podcast and if it has impacted you in some way, I have decided to give the first 15 to 20 people that decide to rate this thing either here on Spotify or on Apple, rate it and create a nice, like a comment on it, like why you like the podcast. I'm gonna give you anywhere from the first 15 or 20 people. I'm gonna send you guys one of my favorite books that have really like changed the trajectory of like my life, my spiritual journey. And, and what I'm going to do is that whoever does end up leaving like comments and things like this within Apple or within, wherever your favorite podcasting platform is, what I'll do is I will just intuitively feel out what book is best for you. Because I have 3 main favorites, and we will get in contact with you. My team will get in contact with you, and we will send you that book. Now, only if this feels super aligned for you and you're like, fuck, like this is a really beautiful podcast and it's definitely helped me a lot in my business and in the way that I think and in my growth. And so only if it's that way for you. I don't, obviously I love you and would only ask of this if it felt aligned. So there's that. Number 2, I do have a brand new program coming out, and I'm so excited to share the name with you and what exactly is going on in there. But really, this is going to be a program about what tools we can have in our back pocket in order to go and move through crunchy, gnarly, sticky shit within our business that may be holding us back and keeping us small, so that we can create an unstoppable business. These are the tools and the modalities and the framework and the mindset and the shadow work basically around how I have really 2x'd my business in 1 year, how I 4x'd my coaching business in 1 year, how I've 32x'd my entire tattoo company, within 4 years. And so it's just really the way that I have been able to create that exponential growth, that quantum leap, because I've quantum leaped within the leadership within myself. And so this is definitely going to be a lot more on the energetics around how we fucking up level, how we glow the fuck up in our business. But that's all I'm gonna give you. And if you want to get on the wait list is in the show notes. I highly recommend getting on the wait list, because that means you're gonna be the first one to get the cheeky awesomeness, the gifts, the what all the good stuff is, and we're just going to be excited. We got a few people already in it, and I've not really been talking about it too much, but I am really excited about this program because I truly believe that this is outside of the business tactics. Like, business tactics are great, but business tactics are only tactics when we understand what we believe about ourselves, and when we can clean up those limiting beliefs, how we can actually create exponential glow ups that not only grow in life, our experience in business, our experience in life, but really create the leader that we want to be within our industries. So let's full send it, baby. And number 3, man, I have been like, I know you're out there. I know you're out there. And I know you can hear me. And I have been feeling your vibe, baby. And this is me talking to that artist, that entrepreneur, that healer, that guide that is ready to really double not only life and biz, but just your overall empire. This is like your fempire for my women that are out there, and then my menpire for my men that are out there that are all spiritual. This is for the spiritual artist, the spiritual creative, the intuitive guy that really is looking to grow and on a one-on-one standpoint. So my inner circle, VIP, one-on-ones, I am searching for the 3 people that are really ready to take their business to the next level, that really want to create something incredibly beautiful. Right now I have 2 people, and I'm just like, man, these are 2 soulmate, amazing one-on-one VIP clients, and I just want to offer like more of that in my world. I love doing one-on-one work. I love the closeness of doing life and business with someone and really exponentially growing in that aspect, whether it be in their business, whether they're, trying to become an educator. I'm loving the artists that really are excited to become educators and wanting to create programs and create their coaching side of business, how we can create more passive income. The ones that are trying to open up shops. I'm actually doing that right now with one of my clients, which is so fucking amazing. And really who's ready to go through the modalities of this. Like, we go through not only the business strategies, but we get into the energy healing work. We're not just it's not just like talking. We definitely enter the realm of energy healing, of somatics, of shadow work, of realignment, and really in all of those beautiful modalities and healing tools that we have within our tool belts in order to allow us to really thrive and really grow. And sometimes we just need that accountability. We need that person on our side to just help us go from where it is we are and where it is we want to go, and we want to collapse that time. We really truly want a quantum leap, and the people that are fucking ready to do this and hold themselves in a high level mentorship space, this is for you. So if you want to learn more about that, go in the show notes. Otherwise, I hope that you love this fucking podcast episode. I am very alive in this because these are certain things that have happened just recently. So I wanted to touch on this, but I love you guys. If you love it, please share it. Now let's take it away. Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of The Mind of Reese. So today I come to you feeling extremely alive on the do's and don'ts on creating more engagement on your social media. So this is the do's and don'ts. And the reason why I am having this conversation with you is because I've been noticing a lot of don'ts. And, as an educator of the social media, of marketing, and of business in the tattoo world, in the creative world, in the healer world, I just want to just be really open and honest on what is really good for your brand and what can be utilized as a chasing tactic. And a lot of my students know there's two ways of looking at these strategies, quote unquote, with Instagram. And you have like these gurus out there that are telling you all of these things. And when I look at some gurus, I always think about it as short, like the ones that are just like, here's to get really fast, here's to get 100 likes, or here's to grow your account by 1,000 people in a month. Like, although those things are totally and awesome and can happen and be in a really organic way, sometimes these tactics can be not only time consuming and really like, where are you putting your time and attention? When I think about time and attention, what's more valuable? I think it's your attention, because when I think about time, it's like, yeah, we only have a finite amount of time, but we also only have a finite amount of attention. And if I'm just wasting time doing to-do list things and these chasing style tactics on how to grow my quote unquote following, which I don't even like to utilize that terminology, but that's the thing that people hear and they're like, yes, that's what I want. It's these ideas that, these quote unquote strategies on how to 1, 2, 3 get to 10K followers in just 3 days or something crazy like that. So it's like, when I look at these short-term tactics aren't going to support your long-term gains and your long-term legacy. So when we think about utilizing short-term tactics to 10x something really quickly, this doesn't mean that it's going to support or help the sustainability of your brand. Because if I have to, post every single day for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, and they're telling me this is what you have to do all the time, this is the way you're going to get more engagement, this is the way you're going to grow your audience, then I am going to choose short-term gains over long-term gains. Because for me, I want sustainability. I want balance. I want holistic. When I think of short-term tactics that get me short-term gains, that's not really creating the foundation of sustainability. That's just getting me what I want to give me a hit of dopamine, because there's a part of me that needs that validation in order to feel like I am worthy of, I feel like that I'm worthy of the attention that I'm trying to seek out, or feeling the worthiness within myself. And so, as you guys know, if you've been, listening to my podcast for some time now, you'll know that we're going unconventional. So, and when I say unconventional to those that have not been on my podcast, and hi, we love you. I've been seeing a lot new people here, and I'm just like, holy moly, I can't believe how many people you love this podcast. Like, I'm just so excited and happy that you guys are here. And so it's like, to those that don't know, unconventional for me is really about following the soul's alignment. So it's really the energy that informs the strategy. So tactics are just all of the ideas that many people give you that has worked for them. Yes, it could be their strategy, their framework. And so my framework is one that's unconventional, or would be seen as unconventional, because it's not about short-term tactics. Now, I'm not saying that with my framework, you are not going to grow exponentially in a short amount of time, but this also creates foundational and sustainable foundations that are super solid, that over time that is sustainable to continue to grow for a long-term legacy. And so this, for me, is more important than short-term tactics. And trust me, I used to teach short-term tactics. That's all I knew how to do. But when I started to get burned out, overwhelmed, anxious, having anxiety, a really dysregulated nervous system, this would cause me to want to retreat and burn it all down and, really just not want to be in my business anymore. It made me want to quit. And so it's like, how can I continuously grow my business, quantum leap at times, and really just continuously have that beautiful growth over time with a solid foundation, when I know that, like, I don't need to show up all the time on Instagram, or I don't need to follow all these tactics. I can have all of these tactics, just have the knowledge of what these tactics look like and follow my energy. And that's the point of this. So if you are following me, this is how we grow our audience, our community, and this is how we create success, thriving, holistic businesses in the creative world. If you're a service provider, whether it be Reiki, nails, I have people that are coming in on here and with nails, nail art and artwork. It's a creative all around, an entrepreneur all around, a healer all around, because you know that your art is a medicine that you utilize in order to really impact the world and to heal the world in your own way. And so whatever that artwork looks like, this is where it's at. So the do's and don'ts. Number one, the don'ts. Do not tag people in your stories that have nothing to do with those people. This happens to me a lot. This honestly is probably my biggest pet peeve, especially when people are just trying to get my attention. Now, there are spam people that it happens with, but I've been noticing this a lot in this industry, where I'm seeing a lot of coaches popping up in the tattoo industry, whether it be, physical therapists or business coaches, financial coaches, like all of these really great coaches in this industry. And I love that, because it's like, I love seeing people be in their expertise, be in their authority, and really offer people the knowledge that they have, and so that they can grow and thrive and change because of what they know is based off their own experiences and expertise. And I love that. I think that's a vibe. However, just because I'm a part of the quote unquote demographic that you are trying to be, I'm your ideal client, quote unquote, and I'm utilizing all of these marketing terminologies, is because when we look at social media as just a tool, we are looking at it only from the perspective of what I can get from you. How can I get my client to do this? How can I get them to do that? And that means that you are utilizing only the metrics to measure your progress. Now, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm saying that all of these people that are like, social media is only a tool, well, then that means that social media has no human heart. And that just means that I'm only utilizing to sell and advertise and to get people to do something. And getting people to do something is a chasing tactic. For me, social media is not just a tool. Social media is a body of work. It is a brand. It is my personal brand. It is an alive, beating heart behind the body of work, the assets I've created that is content. Assets are content. And it is of my intellectual property of how I have, lived my life, the experiences I have. It's actually me embodying the work, the things that I teach, the things that I do, what I say. It's showing you. And so when I am a personal brand, I am allowing you in. Yes, I could be a great advertiser. If I'm utilizing social media as only a tool, then yes, I have great sales pages and great advertising. Yes, you've gotten people to say yes to buying things, but why should I buy it from you? That's the difference that makes the difference. It's the you part. So if you forget that you have a human heart behind that, and you're only utilizing tactics based off of, oh, I need to hit this certain metric, that's how I know I can measure my progress, then we've lost the humanity behind it. And now we're just an algorithm at this point, and not a very good one. Because the chasing tactic, the don't that I'm offering is don't tag people in your stories or in your posts that have nothing to do with them. And just because I landed a demographic because you offer these things to tattoo artists or offer these things to entrepreneurs or these kinds of people, these are your demographic, and it has nothing to do with me. And although you might be offering some really great points to whatever it is that you're saying, but it has nothing to do with me, I know that that's just a chasing tactic and it's just trying to get my attention. And honestly, it's just spam in my folder. And it actually deters me from that person's page. It completely deters me. It totally turns me off. So off that I'm like, it's like being in a relationship where all of a sudden someone's just like, I don't know. Someone's like, do you want to get pizza later? Like you're about to like have sexy time. And then all of a sudden someone's like, do you want to get pizza later? And you're like, I just got turned off. You know what I mean? But I mean, maybe that doesn't turn you off. That probably wouldn't turn me off. But it's just like the stop and the like, what? Why would you do that? So it's like this stall in it. And so for me, the reason why I've been noticing this lately, I'm just like, listen, these chasing tactics, they may get your attention and they may not bother a lot of people. But at the end of the day, it doesn't, for me, it's like, this is not how I grow my market organically, first off. Second off, this is a lot of time I'm putting in order to tag every single person I think that this message is for, instead of allowing my energy, allowing my knowledge, allowing my expertise, my authority to just reach the people it's meant to reach. And then having those people choose to come in. Like, I trust your timeline. I trust that the people that are meant for me are going to find me. I don't need to force it down your throat. That's the last thing I want, because the moment I try to do that, it's going to deter probably half the people that maybe really actually could have utilized that if they found it and followed it. But instead, we have this idea that like, here, let me force feed you something that you need. And as you're trying to gag it out, let me just keep my hand over your mouth and allow you just to, that thing. So it's like, that's a very graphic and a very like, it's a very aggressive way to look at it. But for me, it is. So yeah, don't tag people. I'd say, if you need to do anything, have a hashtag strategy. Honestly, 5 to 7 hashtags. Perfect. Put it in a niche down demographic, because Instagram has, a lot of people playing in that demographic. And if you're doing stories, just hope that the community, that the more you add value to the internet, the more that you can create and find the tactics that actually cause people to stop and become aware. It's like the reason why people follow me, I'm hoping, and that I know, actually I do know this. I say I'm hoping because I wanted to be honest, but in this, it's like, no, I do know, because I've worked on this for so long. It's like the reason why they do it is because I have an edge. I have the hype factor. I have this part of me that makes me just a tad bit different, because if it's who I am, it's my quirk. It's like when I talk about my vulnerability, I know my transparency is my superpower. And so whenever I become transparent and I share things about my life, about my story that has shaped me into the who I am, it gives me power, it gives me momentum. That's what makes me feel good when I'm honest. And so when I shine that through in a way that really helps people to literally, they'll be scrolling unconsciously consuming, and then consciously wake the fuck up because of something I might have said that may have triggered them in a certain way that was like, holy shit, I can't believe she said that, or holy shit, she said that in a way that I never thought about it before. And then that's what makes them wake up. That's what I want. I want to consciously wake you the fuck up when you are in the deep dive scroll of like social media and you just so happen to wake up because I said something in a different way than most people say it. And so that for me is awesome and wonderful. And that's how I want it to be. So the do's is to just trust, that your energy is so alive and on fire that the people that it's meant for is going to be for, and they're going to find you. They are not going to miss you. The universe already, the whole plan is meant to conspire for you. And so the people that are meant for you aren't going to miss you. So trust, surrender into that instead of trying to force feed it down someone's throat. Okay? Number two, when you comment, this is the don'ts. So on the don'ts, when you comment on someone's page with a tactic of just trying to get attention from other people that also comment on that page. So what I'm saying is that this is a tactic that I have heard of from social media gurus in order to have quick turnaround, is that comment on all of your quote unquote competitions page, or comment on all of the people that have similar demographic as you do, so that their people will see you commenting on there. Now, I'm saying I absolutely think it's wonderful if that feels aligned and alive for you. If someone, like for instance, I have seen some coaches go out there, like Ryan Roy, for instance. When I comment on his page and it's so intentional, it's because he lit me the fuck up. He woke me up. He woke me up from the unconscious state of scrolling, and he woke me up. This happened, I think, a couple weeks ago. And I commented with a huge comment, and a lot of people liked it. A lot of people started following me. And I didn't even do it for that reason. I was just like, wow, this lit me the fuck up. Then do it. Then absolutely do it. And if it's your friend, full send comment. But if you are commenting on someone's page with the idea of how can I get, again, a chasing tactic. How can I get more people to like my shit? How can I get more of her people to look at my shit so that they know that I'm here? That is a tactic. And that might not be as aggressive as the one where they're tagging other people in it, but at least do it with some honesty and do it in a way that is alive for you. Now, it can be like, of course, like I know in my mind, in the back of my head, if I comment something really awesome on someone's page, it might get some attention because I like to be very intentional, but that's because I'm intentional. I'm not intentionally doing it to get something from it. I'm intentionally doing it because I'm like, wow, I was really moved by this. And yes, I wanted to add my perspective, or a round of applause to you for sharing your perspective. And I just thought that was so beautiful. Like that's a vibe, and that you can feel that energy. But when someone comments on your stuff, and this happened to me the other day, where this person has been in my DMs several times, and I won't name him. I'm not mad. There's no madness. The reason they bring these things up for me is so that I can teach it and hopefully guide people into a different direction of more honesty and rawness and embodiment and intuition. These are the things that I really want people to switch from the whole masculine force, old paradigm thinking. It's like the wounded masculine of doing, analytics, numbers, tools, these kinds of things, 1, 2, 3. And I love structure. Like I believe the masculine is here to support the feminine flow. But the reason why I teach feminine business and energetics is because of the fact that there is more flow, that we're actually letting the energetics inform the strategics, and that I have all the strategies. I have all the tactics that I need, that I know. And I'll continue to grow that bank of tactics. But it's like how I choose to put them in what order is my feminine flow. It's my feminine energy allowing that flow to follow through. And so that's the difference. It's like with others, they don't really allow much of the creativity. They don't allow much flow. They're like, nope, this is the only way, and this is the way I'm going to do it, and I'm going to stay as disciplined as possible and rigid as possible, and I'm going to, no matter how I'm feeling, I don't care. I'm a robot. It's basically, I am a robot. I'm trying to become a robot, and that's the way I want to live my life. And that's okay. I mean, if that's your vibe, that's okay. Totally vibe. But we do things differently around here. And so when I had this person, they commented on something recently, and I was just like, wow, you did not listen to what I said. And instead, you just put your 2 cents on my comments because you're like, well, this is how I do it. And I was just like, interesting. So it's like you notice, you can kind of tell the energy of where someone's just trying to grab attention from your audience or just from you or this kind of thing. And I get asked to be on a lot of podcasts, to collaborate with a lot of people because they see what I'm doing and they like it, and I love that, and that makes me really happy. But at the same time, it's like I'm very particular about the people I promote and the people I put on my podcast and vice versa, because it's not about me trying to touch on everybody. And especially if I don't even know your work and I don't know whether or not I vibe with that work, then it's like I can't support that. Like, that's unfair to both of us. I'm like, yeah, sure, let me just be in front of your audience so that I can get my name out there more. Like, that's not how I like to work. I like to work with people that I know deeply. We have similar values. I might not agree with you completely, and I think that's the best part. That's where we have really eye-opening conversations, when we can have adult conversations about how we agree to disagree, and that's okay. And I could be open to the perspectives of other things and be open to the idea of it. I'm like, I see how you think like that. Like, there are a couple of mentors out there that are like, no, social media is just a tool. And I totally understand that vibe. I understand it because we want to make sure that we remove ourselves from falling into the idea that our validity comes from these likes and follows, that our whole life is surrounded by it. Yeah, no, I don't want you to get sucked into social media, making it feel like it's your end all be all to make your business. It's not even the case at all. But I do want to make sure that we are not looking at it only from a metrics perspective, that we are looking at it that there is a living, breathing, beating heart behind the brand that you may or may not be following. And so for me, when I choose brands or things that I'm with, I love the idea of having a lot of expertise stuff. Like, here's a lot of 1, 2, 3s and but it doesn't give me a sense of humanity behind it. I want to see the human. Yes, you can teach me yes, thank you for exciting me to buy something in this particular realm, in this area of where I didn't realize I might need. Like, I can buy that. Perfect. But what makes me want to buy it from you, right? So that's something we were talking about earlier. So the don't comment on people's pages because of you're just wanting to put your 2 cents out there so that you can get attention from other people as an engagement tactic. Now, obviously, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and everybody's entitled to fucking post or not post on something. But when it comes to growing your community or really, calling in the soulmate clients, doing it with intention and commenting on people. So if the tactic is, let me go ahead and scroll and create community, and if this so happens that we are in the same realm, like I am a tattoo artist who is also a realism artist, and I go and comment on another tattoo artist who has realistic art, I'm not, if that's my mindset, to be like, I'm also here to grow community, but I'm also here to grow community with the person that's created the artwork, but also the people maybe in their audience. If that's my tactic, which that's like the last thing that really crosses my mind anymore, but I know it works. Like, I understand that's the reason, but it's not my primary reason to comment on someone's page. It's not for the metric. It's like, no, I'm here to create relationships. Like, I am trying to create one-on-one relationships with my community, with other people. Like, if I follow you and I think something's awesome, I want to say, hell yeah, you're fucking awesome, and leave a really intentional comment. So the do's to growing, and if you're going to utilize this particular tactic to grow your engagement, which I think is very valid and it's awesome, and I do say fucking full send it, but do it in a way that's intentional and within your integrity, like within your values. Like, don't do it because it might get you something. And that's the whole thing. It's like, social media as a tool is you're utilizing it as a tool to get you something. Yes, that is a part of it, but it's not the whole thing. We talk about holistic business, not just metrics. If it was only about the metrics, then we'd be playing a totally different game. And I'm just unwilling to play that game. I've played that game, hit every metric and milestone, and still have felt completely unfulfilled. And instead, I choose fulfillment first over metrics, and then by golly, the metrics just come anyway. So why not have both? Like, I'd rather have both, fulfillment and metric, instead of just the metric that I think is going to fulfill me. I choose fulfillment first. I choose to do what's in alignment and integrity, and then move on from there. Okay? So I think it's really, like, those two things were one of the biggest things that I've noticed. I do have notes here, so I'm just going to check out my notes really quickly. Oh, yes. Okay. So tip number 3, for engagement, don't just document. Social media is not meant for documentation. It's not just meant for documenting your life, your tattoos. Today I did this tattoo. Yesterday I did this tattoo. Today I ate this. Tomorrow I'm going to eat that. It's like, it's not about documentation. It's about the experiential aspect. So documentation versus the experience. What we really want to do is we want to make sure that we're not just documenting things. For instance, I had someone the other day, they posted a skull tattoo, and then it says in the caption, skull tattoo. And I'm like, oh, wow, thank you for that. And I see this often, and I get it. It's because, tattooers, we utilize social media as a way to just create the portfolio. But again, if I was utilizing social media as only a tool, that means, yes, I can totally use it as my portfolio of work. And that's it. There's no humanity behind it. I follow a ton of tattoo artists who are fucking amazing. But do I actually think I'm going to get tattooed by any of them? No. There is a certain one that I will. Why? Because she shows up. And when she started to show up in all of her glory, it made me incredibly wow factor. It was a hype factor. She had that hype. She had that edge that made her pieces, although honestly, her pieces, bar none, are like some of the best work I've ever seen. But I've seen a lot of really amazing fucking work. And since I am the type of person that would basically travel however many hours all over the world to go get tattooed by the best people, because I only have like one spot left on my leg that is big enough for someone to actually do some work on. This is true. This is a true vibe. This is a true journey that I'm having right now. It's like, I could choose anybody around the world because I don't care about the expense. I don't care about any of it. I'm like, I've got a last piece of real estate on my body. Really, it's small. And it's big enough for one nice dope piece. And if I know that I'm like, all right, I don't care how much it costs. I don't care where I got to go. Then who am I going to choose? These are the great questions we should be asking in general. It's like, why would they choose you? If I'm going to base it off of a tactic of documentation, then thank you for showing us that you do really good tattoos. I'm excited to get tattooed. Thank you for showing. It's like you showing up, just doing good tattoos and showing your portfolio of tattoos, or a portfolio of just like your artwork of the modality that you use. If you're a Reiki healer, you're just like, yeah, here I do Reiki. It's like but there's no humanity behind the page. Then you are utilizing social media as just a tool. And then now what you're doing is you're just creating a portfolio of your work, which there's no body of work. There's no humanity behind that work. There's no beating heart behind that work. This is just a tactic of how can I get someone to just know me and come and buy from me. They just know of me. It's like, oh, I just know of this person. Yeah, I know of them. It's like from a friend of a friend. That's how well I know that person, because their page doesn't give me much of who they are. But as a personal brand, we want to go into the experience of what we're offering. So no, do not document, do experiences. So in the experiential aspect, this is where we step up from documenting our lives and journeys and really offer people an insight and experience into our world. So it's about creating an experience through your work, through your body of work, whether that be through photos, through reels, through carousels, through pictures, through captions, through really beautiful copyright. Like, that has been one of my biggest goals this year, was just to become a better writer. I was like, I want to become a better writer. That was a huge goal for me last year in 2021. I was in Joshua Tree 2021, And on the day of the 1st of 2022, I had like 16 different goals that I really wanted to adhere to. And I was like, yeah, one of them was to become a better writer. So I took a lot of writing classes. I took like storytelling classes, and this is what really creates this body of work that I now have. It doesn't mean I did anything wrong in the past. It's just that's what got me there. And the new things are what are getting me here. And it's creating quantum leaps. And that's why we learn the tactics. That's why we take classes, we get help, we go to mentors. It's because we're collapsing time between who we want to be, between who we are and who we want to be, where we are and where we want to go. But in order to go to that place, we've got to change who we are. You see what I'm saying? So when we do that, we collapse the time between what we desire. We literally quantum leap. That's called quantum leaping. That's called 10xing your business. That's why we do it, right? That's the reason why we pay for these things. But when we create, so this is where, okay, instead of documenting, we go into experience. So for instance, I don't just say like I have an amazing client, like, or my clients are amazing. I mean, they are. They're fucking amazing. But it's like, you know, the other day I was just having a conversation with, like, I just had a client who I already knew from the email that she was going to be something different. She had already mentioned that she was like a Reiki healer and she wanted like a Celtic goddess warrior. So she had me at goddess warrior. And then I was like really intrigued by the Reiki healer. And then when she sat in my chair, I had the most enlightening, in-depth spiritual conversations with this woman that I have very rarely had before. Like we can go deep, like some of my clients can go deep, but this one just was grounded deep. And there is a difference between someone they're like the first on their spiritual journey who have, you know, they're still moving through it. They're still trying to figure things out. And you know, a lot of people on their spiritual journeys, like just because we're on a spiritual journey doesn't mean we're all going to vibe. Like, so I know. And so this was my way of finding out like, holy shit, I didn't know there was another level of soulmate client for me. And she just raised the bar for me. Now I'm like, how transparent can I get? How can I create an experience online so I can get her 100%? Like make Christine my 100. I know she's listening to this. I love you, Christine. I told her this. Actually, it was funny because at the end I started crying in this conversation with her, telling her what she has just done for me. She has up-leveled the idea of like, I mean, I even cry about it now because of the things that we talked about was just so rooted in so many amazing, beautiful things. And it made me realize my path even further deeply and what it is I'm meant to do on this planet. And so it's like these people like that's like, see, I'm giving you this story. I'm walking you through it. I'm allowing you in my space. I'm letting you see it through my eyes. I'm letting you feel my feels. And that's storytelling. That's creating the experience. And that's how we create a beating heart behind the social media. Okay. And so this is where we really got to switch it up. It's like, yes, I've been documenting my life all of the time. And you know what? We like that. Like people love feeling seen and heard. It's called social currency. Like we want to talk about our lives. We want to talk about and give people insight of what we learned that day, or wow, this new restaurant I went to and you should go try it. Like we like to know, we like to have information that people might not know and to give it to them because we love that. That's called social currency. And that's the kind of vibe I want to create for people to go off, read my shit, and maybe at the dinner table be like, have you ever heard of this girl, The Art of Reese? Like, she's crazy. Like, she seems like just a tattoo artist, but she's also talking about how she utilizes like tattoos as a modality for healing, and how her spiritual journey creates the tactics and strategies within her business, and how, you know, and she's just like really, holy shit, like she talks a lot about like how she even got here, and even stuff that like you would never think, like how she stole tattoo photos, you know, back in the day, and how that's really, even though that was like her rock bottom where she lost everything, and then all of a sudden she came up and she realized that this was her journey, and she's so thankful for that moment. And how, you know, it's like, she's crazy, like why would you even bring that up? Like I get that all the time when I tell like my crazy spiritual journey, the journey that got me here. And I'm like, because it is in those experiences, the way that I tell the story, instead of just documenting on what it is, it's those experiences that create relatability. And it creates that connection, that bond, that soul bond with someone that really is like, holy shit, like she said it in a way that's crazy. And wow, how exciting. And this is crazy pants. And so for me, it's like that is the next level up from becoming an influencer to an entrepreneur, to an authority in your business, to creating value within your page and your social media. So you are a social media brand. And what happens when we think about this, we got to realize that like people want to binge all of your content. So if you only have tool related content, like I am a tool, like I'm utilizing social media for a tool. I am a tool. I'm utilizing social media as a tool in order to grow my business, then people are only going to see like advertisement, very surface level stuff. And then they're going to get bored once they're binging and then they're going to walk off. But then, but if you're giving them different ins and outs, you're like, ooh, I'm giving like the selling and the advertising, but I'm also giving them insight and know, like, and trust factor. And then I'm also offering, this hype, edgy stuff that like, holy shit, I can't believe she's talking about that kind of thing. And that makes you super memorable and makes me want to go off of the social media and actually talk to people about it. And that is going to be your biggest win. Because yes, social media is definitely a form of word of mouth for sure. You can impact so many people. It is a form of word of mouth. But it's when you are off the social media and someone goes and talks about it at dinner or at a bar or something like that. And they're like, have you seen this girl? And then they'll put their page up and then someone else. And it's because of that person, your person who follows that person is more likely that that person is probably going to fly all over the world just to come get tattooed by you than someone just stumbling on your page. But not saying that that's not the case either. So there's more than one way to really get people on your page. But when they finally land on it, how do you want them to experience you? Am I only an advertisement? No. Am I only a tattoo artist? No. Am I only a tattoo? Because I've seen a lot of pages that are only tattoos. No. And so for some, that's totally a vibe. And like I said, there is no wrong way to do business. There's no wrong way. You can't fuck it up. There's no wrong way. That's the funny, paradoxical part about it. There is no wrong way. You can utilize all the don'ts, and that really helps you, then full send. This is just the way that I see life. This is just the way that I've noticed throughout my own journey on this 14 years I've been on this platform and been on any social media platform. And what I've noticed helps me feel really fulfilled and also grow exponentially and grow solidly. So it's not just the exponential growth, which happens all of the time, but it's also just like I notice that growth it's always happening, whether it levels out or goes down a little, but it always shoots up. And if I were to see my business from 11 years ago to now, we would be talking about a mountain going straight up. So we're thinking about how like the continuity, we're talking about how much it has gone up. It's like, yeah, on certain times when I'm so zoomed into my business and I notice that I'm in a downward spiral, like maybe I'm not making as much this month or whatever. It's like, but if I look at it, whatever I'm comparing it to, I'm still moving up. So just because in January I made $25,000 and though I'm used to making 50, big fucking deal. Because $25,000 was not even close to what I was making when I was 4 or 5 years in, when I was making $3,000 a month. So let's really zoom out and notice like how much we're consistently growing. And for me, if consistency, it means that I go down, I have to neutralize, I have to, restructure, recreate the foundation, and then to shoot up, then that's what that means. And for me, I've been like feeling a lot of restructuring in the past like 6 months, 7 months, that I'm like, yeah, this is the way it's going to go, because I already know that by me resetting the foundations and recommitting to my soul's purpose and to reevaluate to make sure that I'm aligned with the things that I'm doing, not just doing it because I said I would, following through for sure. There is totally a thing on holy hustle over overwhelm. Like I'm not going to, the don'ts on this, here's another don't just post. Don't post every day because some guru told you that you needed to post every day in order to create this many follows. Again, that's a social media tactic, utilizing social media as a tool. The do's is commit to whatever you said you were going to post allow yourself in flow, but create that holy hustle. If I am feeling overwhelmed because I need to post in order to not be forgotten, that is a tactic and that is a don't. If I am doing things because I'm like, whoa, I am feeling a little low energy, but I said I was going to do this and I'm going to act in the holy hustle, I'm going to be like, yep, but this is still in alignment for me. And I'm going to follow the fuck through because I'm devoted to me and I'm devoted to the commitments that I make. Then fuck yeah, full send. That's where I'm at. I'm saying like, let's do that. Let's really create that vibe, because then there we're not only creating from devotion and devotion to momentum and still taking brave action and still knowing that like, yeah, maybe I might be having a little bit of a bad day, or maybe I might be just like a little bit low energy. But if I told myself that I'm going to be doing this, like let's say I gave myself a challenge of like 30 days of posting on TikTok to really like revive my TikTok, for instance, then I'm going to follow through on that, because I love creating challenges, because challenges does create momentum. It creates this cadence of continuity. And that's why we want to make sure that we follow through on our commitments. But I'm not going to put it on myself to be like, I have to post 5 days a week, every week for the rest of my fucking life. That sounds so unsustainable, and it doesn't sound like it's coming from my heart. It just sounds like it's a tactic that I'm creating in order to create more engagement, in order to grow a quote unquote following. Now, if I'm trying to create a soul aligned community, I am going to choose quality over quantity, because the quality of my heart is so much more magnetic than the quantity with which I choose to show up because I have to. So this is the difference that makes the difference for me. Okay. So we have the 4 don'ts so far. And literally, this is just coming out like a light for me. Like I'm just channeling this through right now. I have a few notes, but nothing really super full and said, like full sense. Like I always just kind of channel the way I go through my podcast. And this is just why I love podcasting so much, because we can get really in deep in the nitty gritty of the way that I see the world. And that's the way we want you to show up. I want you to show up and share with me how you see the world in all of its glory, and noticing that like the quirkiness, the parts of you that you are afraid to show are probably the best parts of you that really resonate with people. So it's like really understanding that the insecurities can be your unapologetic expression. It could be you turning your shame into power, your pain into power. It's like that sense of like wounds into wisdom. And this is like where all of the healing journey, and this is a reason why I know social media it's not just a tool for business. It's a part of your healing journey if you choose to look at it so. You don't even realize how many times you get triggered. You feel the feels of jealousy, imposter syndrome. You compare either yourself to your past self, or you compare yourself to someone else. You go on there and you get upset, or you get really happy. Like you don't even, when you become really conscious of the things that are happening whenever you are on social media, or every time you post something and you feel like down about it because it didn't quote unquote do as well as you thought it might, or something of these nature, this is where we can wake the fuck up. This is where we can actually utilize social media as a healing modality. It is, and I'm sorry, not a healing modality, as a tool for your healing. So yes, it's a tool for metrics and to really measure your progress, but it's more of a beating heart and soul on how your own psychology and how your brain works. And that's the interesting part, is that I utilize social media to get to know me better. I utilize social media as a way to shine the light on the shadows and the wounds within myself, because whenever I feel a wound when it comes to social media, I'm like, oh, and that is a sign for me to either take the moment to shine the light on it, give myself space to feel that feeling and shine the light on that feeling so that I can understand it better, and allow it room to feel it. Like allow that part of me to feel that, and then to heal it. Because the more that I can clear the pipes within me that connects me back to spirit, that connects me back to my spirituality, that connects me back to my inner wisdom, that connects me back to wholeness and oneness in the universe, who is conspiring for me every single day, every time I wake up and realize, wow, these uncomfortable feelings are so good for me. There's such good opportunities for me to learn more about myself so that I can rise to the occasion and become the leader that I am meant to be. When I can wake up to that, then fuck yeah for social media. Fuck yeah for the fact that, like, I love social media. I think it's fucking wonderful. It also drives me bananas, but it's supposed to. And that's the part where that's the part where we get to realize that this is all just one big game. And so this is the do's and don'ts on how to really increase your engagement. And I'll stop that here because I can go on a whole tangent on all of these, different tactics and do's and don'ts with engagement. But yeah, I think I'll just stop it right then and there. But I do want to just say that at the end of the day, you guys, like, really, really noticing that social media isn't like an evil thing, that it ends up being a really beautiful place that you can share your heart and soul and create a living, breathing entity within your page that allows people to get to know you better, gets to see your world views, gets to understand your perspective on the lens of how you see life, and really gets an insight into your world. And you're inviting people in through experience and not just documenting, and you're not just doing tactical things in order to grow a following, because there's no point in that, because growing a following, growing a number count doesn't mean that those people are actually going to buy from you. It might just mean that you annoyed them so much that they finally decided to follow you, so you would stop tagging them and things. But I'm a bit of a stubborn mule when it comes to that stuff. This is the part where it really bums me out, because it is a catalyst for the reasons why I won't, be putting any of these people on my podcast, or I won't be, collaborating in this, because I'm just like, I believe in, like, chill, allowing me to understand a timeline. Like, I would never want to force anybody to get a tattoo, or to talk someone into a tattoo that they were just like, that they weren't a fuck yeah at the beginning, because I'm as a manifesting generator, it's either a fuck yeah or a hell no. Like, if I even feel a twinge of feeling of obligation or something, I gotta go soul's alignment right away. Like, if it's just even a twinge of a no, it's a fuck no. Absolutely. I have to follow in my alignment. I have to do things my own way, because that's just how I manifest the best in my life. Like, I manifest the best in my life when I'm following in my soul's alignment, and as do you as well. And so for me, it's like, I want to feel alive and aligned with something that I'm doing, not because I feel guilty or obligated or, tricked into it, or pushed so much to the point where I'm like, oh, I have to. And don't get me wrong, that happens, and I do still do the thing, because there are parts of me that still need to be healed, and I'm still human, and I still, like, my values are based on loyalty, and sometimes I have my people pleaser that comes up and tries to take the wheel, and it happens. So I'm human. That's what happens. But the more I can stay in my alignment, the better that my experience is going to be with life and business. And so I will leave you with that. If you guys love this podcast, please let me know. I love hearing you guys in the when you guys post about these in the stories. And I just opened up the Mind of Reese on Instagram, so people want to follow the Instagram page. That'd be awesome. Especially if you really love the podcast episodes and stuff. And I would really love it too, you guys, if you decide that I decided that I was going to give the first 15 people that decided to rate and do a 5-star rating and maybe write something within either Apple or Spotify. The first 15 people, I'm going to send you one of my favorite books that, like, I just love. I have 2 to 3 favorite books that I, like, just feel like have changed the whole trajectory for me. And if you end up being one of these first 15 people, I'm going to send you one of those books. And so that's just a gift from me to you for just helping me in this podcast and letting more people see a different way of doing business in this creative world. So I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.